One detachment won 70% of its games this weekend. 70%. That's the loudest thing on the board, and it comes from just 37 games. Loud and thin at the same time. Stay to the end, and you'll know exactly how much of that to believe. This is the Infinite Archive's weekly meta report, competitive Warhammer 40,000 measured. Every ranked game from the weekend's tournaments, read at the resolution the data actually supports. No hot takes, just the numbers and how far to trust them. First, the honest part. 11th edition is still young. 1,100 games this week, and only 13 of 28 factions have enough of them to read with real confidence. A lot of today is going to be not yet, and not yet is the right answer. This is the whole field this week. Win rate for all 28 factions, each with its 95% confidence band drawn against the gold line, which is the field average at 48.1. Here's how to read it. Where a band clears the gold line, there's something to talk about. Where it straddles the line, there isn't. Not yet. Emperor's Children top the week at 59 on 93 games. Orcs and Thousand Sons behind them. That's the readable end. Necrons and Custodes are the two risers with enough games to take semi-seriously, both in the low to mid-50s on real samples. Now look at the movement column and don't take it too seriously. Black Templars fell 35 points this week on 23 games. That's not a collapse, that's a coin coming up tails a few extra times. Adeptus Mechanicus jumped 16 on 63 games. Same story, the other direction. And watch Imperial Agents, 60% win rate, the widest band on the board because it's 5 games. The strength index floors it to average and stamps it thin. That single row is the whole discipline of this channel, a big number that means nothing yet, labeled as exactly that. If you make me trust one faction this week, it's Emperor's Children, the only top-of-table army whose band clears the gold line on a real sample. Now zoom out from the week. This is the same field, but every game since the edition began. 4, 5, 600 games a faction instead of 100. The bands get tighter and the picture gets honest. And it barely moved. Thousand Sons at 60 over 450 games. Orcs 58. Emperor's Children 57. Grey Knights and Chaos Demons just behind. That top group has held for the entire edition. And at the other end, Eldari, World Eaters, and Astra Militarum have sat below the line all edition. That's a real read too, not just a bad weekend. So here's the frame for the whole video. This weekend is one data point. Orcs are the clean example. They dropped 8 points this week, but across the edition, they're a 58% faction on 400 games. I believe the 400, not the 90. Back to that 70% number from the top. It's a detachment, Space Marines Forge Fathers Seekers, and this week its band actually clears the field. That's rare. Most detachments this early sit right on top of the average. But it's 37 games. The band runs from the mid-50s all the way into the 80s, which is another way of saying, we can tell it's good, we can't tell how good. Read with care. Not no read, but not gospel either. Underneath it, the chasing pack. All real, all on similar samples. Emperor's Children's Coterie of the Conceited at 61, Tau's Montka, Votan's Hearthguard Covenant, Necron's Awakened Dynasty, Thousand Sons Hexwarp Thrallband, all in the high 50s to low 60s. None of these are new armies riding hype. They're established detachments, quietly winning. The question every week is which of them keeps it up once the sample doubles. And notice the coverage, 90%. About 1 game in 10 this week, we couldn't resolve which detachment was played. We don't paper over that, we show it and move on. The one I'd keep an eye on isn't the leader. It's Thousand Sons Hexwarp Thrallband, 58% on 79 games. Nearly readable and attached to a faction that's been strong all edition. New for 11th edition, Force Disposition, the mission posture each army commits to. 5 of them. The only question worth asking is whether picking one actually changed the result. This week, the honest answer is no. Every pairing our engine looked at came back tangled. The win rates drift a point or two off 50, but the confidence intervals all overlap. Priority assets edges purge the foe. Taken hold edges disruption, but none of it separates. That word tangled is printed straight from the test. We didn't choose it. Where there is a signal is in what people are choosing. Purge the foe is the runaway pick at 39% of games, almost double the next posture. So players have a strong opinion about the best posture. The results, so far, don't back it up. If you're building a list, the takeaway is permission, not instruction. Play the posture that suits your army, because the data isn't telling you one wins. When that changes, we'll say so. This is the part nobody else does. Every week, we put last week's calls back on the table against the new data. Last week, we flagged orcs as a genuine riser, clear of the field. This week, 64 dropped to 56, still above the line. Held. We called Emperor's Children's Coterie of the Conceited the week's breakout at 64. This week, 61. Held. And we put a no read on Death Watch at 10 games. This week, it's 26 games, still under the line, still a no read. 3 calls, 3 that stood up, including the one where the honest move was to say nothing. So what can this weekend's data actually bear? Start with the stamp. Imperial Agents, 5 games. We don't rate it, and neither should you. Where we're confident. Emperor's Children this week. 93 games, banned clear of the field. And the top of the table, the same 4 factions, holding across the whole edition. That's earned. Where we hold back. Any detachment under about 80 games, including this weekend's 70% hero at 37. Imperial Agents at 5. And every disposition pairing, because right now the posture doesn't separate. Saying wait out loud on the numbers that don't yet hold. That's the entire point of this channel. A statistics site is one of the inputs to the meta. Publish a false positive, a faction or a detachment that looks strong and isn't, and players move there. The spurious number becomes a real migration of armies across real tables. So we report to the resolution the games can carry. No further. Data is infinite. Understanding it is divine. We'll see you next week.